Welcome to the Legal Merry-Go-Round.
Welcome back to the Legal Merry-Go-Round with attorney Paul Samakow, a longtime personal injury lawyer helping injured people throughout the DC metro area. I'm Lisa Mosby, and today we're talking about what an attorney actually does for you if you're injured in a car crash, what gets taken off of your plate, how your medical care can be coordinated even if you don't have insurance, how your lawyer deals with the insurance company, and why hiring an attorney usually puts more money in your pocket even after fees. Paul, this looks like it's going to be an intense one. We got a lot to cover. Are you ready to go?
We do. Let's rock and roll.
When someone is injured in a car accident and they're overwhelmed, what does hiring an attorney change for them immediately in week one?
Well, if they drink the Kool-Aid, and that's the expression, but the reality is that if they understand and believe, they can just take everything and give it to the attorney, and they deal with getting well. There is so much stress that can attach after being involved in a collision. Um, you're physically injured. Your car is all messed up. How am I going to get to work? I can't take little Johnny to the soccer game. I can't go to a little Billy Bob's school play. I mean, there's it just I can't go to the wedding that I'm supposed to go to next weekend. I was going to be in the wedding part. I mean, there's just on and on. Life goes on. Being in an accident sends a boomerang into that, and the stress is enough. I've had clients who literally their blood pressure has increased. It was measurably increased because of that. So you come into the attorney's office or you're on the phone initially, and if it's done properly, my goal is to effectively put my arm around my client and say, "Hey, I got you. We're going to take care of this. You go get better. Just do what your doctor says. Go to the therapy, whatever is necessary. We will deal with the stress, the mess, the aggravation, the inconvenience, the upset, and the money and the insurance people. That's the goal."
I'm kind of curious, what do you actually take over day to day? And what's the only things the client still has to do besides getting well? Are there other things?
Well, the first thing that an attorney is going to do is an investigation to make sure that we confirm that it's the other person's fault. That could involve getting a copy of a police report, going out to the scene of the incident with an investigator and taking photos, getting footage from cameras. I had a situation once where across the street from an intersection, there was a store that had a camera that proved that my client on a bicycle was going through the intersection on a green light, and the car that hit him went through a red light. And until we got that footage, the insurance company for the car was denying the claim. Well, there was video evidence that my client was in the right. We do a complete and thorough investigation that could include getting witness statements, and not just on the phone. Okay, it was George's fault. Great. No, we get them to write up a statement, and we follow up and follow up until we get it in writing with their name and their phone number, so that an insurance company representative, if they want to, can call them and verify it. The investigation is a very, very critical part of everything that goes on, and hopefully it takes the burden off of them later on. Them, the client, it takes the burden off of the client later on when the insurance company would say, well, we don't think it's our fault. So investigation is absolutely always step one.
And Paul, if a client doesn't have a doctor or they don't have health insurance, what can your office do to help them to get treatment anyway?
Um, Good attorneys will have relationships with medical care providers all over the region. And these providers will often agree to allow referred individuals from attorneys' offices to come in, and they will give them medical care and treatment, and they will wait until the end of the case to get payment. So if the insurance company, if there's no insurance for the individual, no health insurance, or they don't have money up front, they can still get the medical care they need. I have extensive relationships with all measure of medical care providers, be they orthopedic doctors, neurologists, eye doctors, chiropractors, physical therapy organizations. Um, One of the other things that we do is we sign documents from hospitals and radiology groups and emergency physicians groups that we will pay the client's bill at the end of the case. And that prevents them from sending notices of collection and bothering the clients about paying their bill. So it's an extraordinary relief to clients on two levels. One is financial, and the other is stress. Nobody likes getting notices of collection. Nobody likes being without medical care if it's needed. So having an attorney facilitates getting that medical care and having the individual client not be concerned about how it's going to get paid.
Paul, are there any common ways that insurance adjusters try to get insured people to say or do something that quietly harms their case?
Absolutely. Great question, Lisa. They have phone calls made almost immediately, and they ask if it can be recorded. And the answer should always be no, you cannot record it. And as a matter of fact, I don't have to talk to you. The insurance company representative might say, well, if you don't talk to us, we can't fix your car. Okay, fine, no problem. Your car will get fixed. But in clear cases, I'm sitting at a red light and somebody hits me from behind, they have to go fix the car. And if they're going to delay and stall, that's inappropriate. If it's an intersection collision, okay, fine. I get it. They need to do an investigation and they want to hear my client's side of the story. But individuals who are involved in accidents, for the most part, are not always privy to what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. An insurance company claims representatives are very educated people. They're very schooled. Often they're attorneys, and they can twist words around. They can get you to say things that you may not want to say, not meaning to have said something, even though you're trying to be honest and you're trying to be helpful. Um, if you say nothing, they can't twist it. The more you say, the more likely it is that something you say is going to hurt you. So I advise my clients not to say anything. Let the attorney do the talking for them.
You know, this is kind of an aside note. Something that came to me is the attorney for the insurance company representing you, if you paid the insurance, why would they want to trick their own client through these recorded conversations? I thought they're working on your behalf to settle this.
Lisa, so you are espousing the belief of the masses. The insurance industry has brainwashed everybody. Oh, we're on your side. Um, all those TV commercials that you see. Oh my gosh, they're funny. I laugh my bejeebies off. I mean, they're great. They're not on your side. The insurance industry is a business. They have two goals in mind running that business. One is collect premiums. They then invest those premiums and get interest on it. And there's several levels above where they make a bundle of money. I'm not sure, but I think the insurance industry is the second richest industry in the world after gas and oil. So they're making a ton of money just because you and everybody else is paying premiums for insurance coverage. That's number one. Number two, they don't want to pay claims. You got the balance sheet, right? Premiums make the balance sheet go up, and paying claims makes the balance sheet go down. Why do they want to make claims? Why do they want to pay? They want to stall, delay. They even lie so they don't have to pay claims. No, they're not there to help you, but they're nice on the phone. Oh, I'm so sorry you got hurt. What can we do to help you today? Here, I'm going to turn on the recorder and just, ask you a few questions. Would that be okay? No, no, you're not recording me. Yeah, they're wonderfully skilled people who are designed in their jobs, and they're trained and trained and trained to get you to say anything. How are you feeling today? Well, I'm okay. No, you're not okay. You have a leg fracture. I mean, no, you're not okay. But they're going to use that against you.
So, how do you handle communication with the insurance company so that the client isn't dealing with those calls or the pressure or the gotcha questions?
Client hires me as their lawyer. I send a letter to the insurance company. Dear Mr. Insurance Company, I'm representing Joe or Fred or whoever it is. Please cease communications with him immediately. And they're not allowed to. I don't even need to put that in the letter, but I do anyway. They're not allowed to call my client after they get the letter advising that I'm the client's lawyer. Then they'll call me and they'll want to know what happened. And so we'll give them facts. My client was stopped at a red light. Your insured rear-ended them. I don't keep talking. Okay, well, do they have injuries? Yes, they have injuries. Well, what were the injuries? Well, the medical bills will show you what those injuries are, and the medical records will show you what those injuries are when we make a demand for a settlement after my client has gotten all better. Well, don't you have some idea what the injuries were? Okay, well, if there is a fracture, I'll say, yeah, he fractured his arm. But I'm not going to go into all the potential injuries because they're going to write them down. And then later, if I say something else, is, well, you didn't tell me that at the beginning. So I don't tell them anything at the beginning except the obvious. And if it's a fracture and there's more things, I'll say, okay, here it is. There is a fracture of the arm, but there are many, many more things. Right? Are you writing that down, Mr. Insurance Claims Representative? Yes, I wrote it down. Okay, so we communicate with the insurance companies on behalf of the client. We say virtually nothing.
And if there's a concern about fault or the other driver is disputing what happened, what does an investigation look like and what kinds of evidence actually move the needle?
Uh, Photos, film, witnesses, police. You know, a lot of times, I mean, if I could have a dime for every time the at fault party got out of the car and went over to my client and said, I'm sorry, this was my fault. And then the police get there later and they change their mind. Well, I didn't know what happened. It wasn't my, they changed them. They're liars. Nobody wants to take responsibility, seemingly. Well, not nobody, but more often than you'd like. So an investigation entails a lot of different things, including my client's statement that, this knucklehead admitted that they were at fault and apologized. And police reports often will be very good, but sometimes the police reports are not accurate, or even if they're not accurate, they might not have a decision because both parties are saying that the other one was at fault. So you have to be able to prove things, um, and it's not always easy, but you do everything you can possibly do.
I'm curious, I've heard the term full compensation. So when you evaluate a case, what does full compensation really include beyond medical bills?
Well, again, medical bills, lost income, lost earnings, lost wages, whatever you want to call it, and an additional amount for suffering and inconvenience and aggravation and disruption of life and many, many, many more things. And look, I mean, you have your stack of bills and expenses, and you take it to 10 different accountants, and you say, how much money do I owe, in taxes this year, and you get 10 different answers. So full compensation isn't an absolute number; it's the best number we can get for you. That's what it is. And we always try and get the absolute best. And if we can get what is called policy limits, then there is no more than we've done the perfect job.
And I'm sure that you've seen at times that there are common things people undervalue or forget to claim when they try to negotiate on their own. What might some of those be?
Oh, yes. Well, okay, so let me ask you a question. Because the accident happened, you were supposed to go out of the area to another city to attend a wedding, but you couldn't do it. What is the likelihood that you're going to remember to say that? Now, that's not going to get you thousands and thousands of dollars, but that's something that needs to be considered. Um, you're in pain and you're in your bed every single night and you can't turn on your side, but you're a side sleeper. And so as a result, you're on the other side or on your back or your stomach. And because you're not sleeping the normal way you normally sleep, well, your sleep is interrupted. It's disruptive. And you get up the next day and, well, one night, okay, big deal. But what about two or three or four or five or 10 nights in a row that you can't sleep the right way? Chances are you're going to be a little bit of a different person. You're going to be a little more stressed. You're going to be a little more anxiety driven. You're going to bark at your spouse that maybe you would not normally ever do. I mean, so what is the likelihood that you're going to remember to talk about your sleep disruption and had that how that adversely affected you when you're trying to negotiate on your own? People don't think of that. Um, let's suppose that you don't have an hourly job. Let's suppose you're a realtor, and as a result of the injury, you weren't able to go out and try and sell houses or get listings for 3 months. Well, how do you calculate that? Well, we know how to calculate it, but chances are you don't. The insurance company might say to you, well, you didn't sell any houses. How do we know you were going to sell any? So they give you nothing to compensate you for your wages. Um, Again, I mean, the examples are, I could go on talking about these types of things until Christmas, but this is the reason that people get lawyers, is because lawyers understand how to ask for all of the damages and how to maximize them.
And you said something that surprises people. Clients often net more money with an attorney even after the fees than they would have had they negotiated for themselves. I hear the answer to that in that last question, but do you want to elaborate on why that is true in real life?
Sure. Thank you. Great question. It begins with the ability that you have as someone not represented, talking to the insurance company on your own to negotiate a settlement, and you have no power. You have no threat. If you don't think that they're being fair, the most you can do is say, I'm going to go get a lawyer. And statistically, most people don't. So you either accept the low offer, the bad offer, or you come back. Uh, you never come back, so they completely win. Now, let's just use an example. Let's suppose the insurance company offers you $8,000 and your medical bills are $4,000. So you put $4,000 in your pocket after you pay your medical bills. With an attorney, you could get $20,000. So the attorney's fee, let's just make it $21,000, make it easy for me, my little brain, right? Most attorneys charge a third. So you got a $21,000 resolution with an attorney, and they take $7,000 out of it as their one-third fee, leaving $14,000. Now, the $4,000 in medical bills still has to be paid, so the client gets $10,000 as opposed to $4,000 if they did it on their own. And that's typical. That's absolutely typical. Lawyers get much more because lawyers can threaten. Lawyers have power. They can go to court. So the insurance company would rather pay the $21,000 now than have a situation where now they have to go hire their own lawyer and go to court. So they're paying for a lawyer before they didn't have to pay for a lawyer. So there's an expense to them. Remember, they don't like expenses. And a jury could decide that they really love the individual who got hurt, and instead of getting 21,000, they might have to pay 30,000. Now, it's also possible you go to court, instead of getting 21,000, you could get 4 or 5 or 3. You know, going to court is a risk for both sides. But insurance companies are risk adverse. They like certainty. So they'd rather pay 21,000 today than risk having to pay 25, 30, 40, 50, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months from now. They like everything nice and understandable so they can write it on their books and move forward.
And Paul, for someone who's listening, who's on the fence about calling a lawyer because they just don't want to make a big thing about this, what would you want them to understand before they decide?
Um, a lot of people have come into my office and say, I'm not the type of person to sue, or, you know, I don't want to make a big thing out of it, to use your words, Lisa. That's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no law requiring you to make a claim. But if you're injured, anything more than, say, a one-time visit to the hospital or a one-time visit to your family doctor, and you're at all concerned about money, it behooves you to use the services of an attorney. And if you don't care, that's okay. That's completely okay. I just hope you're not hurt badly.
And as you explained, the attorney can help you get out of this, and it's not going to cost you anything upfront. So, folks, that's where we'll leave today's episode of Legal Merry-Go-Round. Paul, thank you again for your insights. It's extremely valuable, this information that you're providing people, and we really appreciate it. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere in the DC metro area and you want someone to take the stress off your shoulders and make sure you're treated fairly, attorney Paul Samakow and his team are here to help you. To learn more or schedule a free strategy session, visit samakowlaw.com. And don't forget to leave a review, and subscribe to the show. We'll see you next time, folks.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.